Well, that was a crazy journey.
Crazy.
Oh my goodness. My reaction the entire film was
Yeah,
Crazy House,
crazy house.
starring Nick Frost, who dropped in a ton of horror movies in a very short amount of time.
Hmm.
Between Getaway, this, and Black Cab,
Mm.
all releasing within like a month or two of each other. So a lot of horror for him right now. And Crazy House is one that was brought to my attention maybe a month or two ago from someone in the comments that was like, you got to see this. This is definitely a noteworthy one, and I'll agree. It's definitely one that is memorable.
Yeah.
Now, is it for the right reasons? Let's talk about it. So what's the movie about? Okay. So there's a family, the Christians.
Yep.
We have Nick Frost plays the father,
Yep.
and Alicia Silverstone. Yes, that Alicia Silverstone plays the mother. And I don't know who plays the kids, but
There's a son and
they,
a daughter.
yeah, they're so the way that this is set up, it's set up like a 90s sitcom. The
Yeah.
house looks very much like Married with Children, and that's kind of how the movie plays out. This is very reminiscent of one of the scenes within Natural Born Killers when
Mm.
we explore Mallory's past and we meet her father, played by Rodney Dangerfield. They do it in the form of like a sitcom,
Hmm.
but a lot of horrible things are happening, and the crowd's like cheering or like whatever inappropriate times and whatnot. So when I saw that that's what this was going to be, I was like, oh, so this is going to be like an extended version of that. I always was a huge fan of that idea. So when I saw that this was that concept, like conceptually that's what this was, I was like, okay, this could be really really cool. So when we threw it on and we saw that, I was like, oh, okay, that's like, this could be something I really really enjoy. So the film, we use a term a lot on the channel. I
Mm.
shouldn't say a lot, we use this term here and there, and it's try hard.
Mm.
And I saw when I pressed on the when I went on IMDb and I clicked on this, I saw like a reel from the trailer, and it was giving you different quotes from critics,
Hmm.
and in one of them said, it said something, but it had the word edge lord in it, and I was like, yes, I've never really used that word in my life, to be honest, but if there's ever a place to use that word, it's for this film. This film really just tries so hard to be as edgy and as insane as humanly possible.
Mm.
And for me, I think that will be super entertaining to people. And I'm not going to ever say I was bored, because I wasn't.
Yeah, it's not a boring movie at
No, I don't know how
all.
you could be bored watching this movie. You're either going to be shocked, you're going to feel something while you're watching it, but it's so over the top.
Yeah.
It's so random, and it's trying so hard to be offensive. It's trying so hard to be insane. And I can appreciate all of that stuff, but I don't know. It didn't really work for me.
Mm.
And this, I really feel like I am the target audience for a movie like this, right? Like, number one, I love insane over the top films.
Yeah.
Number two, like, I don't get offended by pretty much anything ever, right?
Mm.
So like, there's nothing taboo to me. You can pretty much do anything in a film as long as it's done in a way that works. So I just feel like I am the target audience, and I still felt walking away from this that it felt way too random. And I'm curious on your thoughts before I ramble too much.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately the humor in this did not work for me. There's definitely times when we were kind of like, laughing in a WTF type of way, which is the humor, but I didn't vibe with the movie.
Same.
I do think that some people will be really into it. I think that for some people it will land and they'll be all about it. And I really hope that this film finds those people because I do think there's an audience for it. I was excited initially because I really like this concept of like a 90s sitcom, like, reality adjacent or like just like an interesting like universe that you're in where you're in the sitcom and there's a lot of like third wall breaking that happens
Fourth.
or fourth wall breaking, sorry.
It's okay.
There's a lot of walls broken too, to be
Yeah.
fair. But yeah, the fourth wall breaking thing happens a lot in the film, especially towards the end of the movie, and I kind of just was left confused by that. I don't know. I think ultimately the concept confused me more than it like worked for me.
Yeah.
I feel like if maybe like that wasn't an element to it, like the sitcom aspect and like the live studio audience kind of thing going on,
Mm.
and it was just the other part of the story, I'm I don't know. I don't know if it would have improved it, but I do know that that part confused me. Because I guess I can't tell if it's just like a style choice or
Right.
if there's like a purpose to it, and
I don't think the
that's
movie's trying to say
no, I
anything.
don't think so necessarily either. Like, I don't think it's on any kind of like high horse, like, got a message. I mean, sure, when people make films, there's usually some inspiration for it. Like, of
Sure.
course, that's there. It's not like it's without anything, but um, yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't vibing with it. I think that like the over the top stuff, just as you had said in the beginning, it felt like it was trying too hard for me, and it just wasn't working because I guess like for me when things are supposed to be like really messed up when it's like oh my god like you're just pushing the boundaries, I think that works really well for me when it's done in a more serious manner because then it's like that subject matter is really dark and I'm like oh my god like that's so messed up, but there's not like attention drawn to the like look how hard we're pushing, you know what I mean? And then if it's done in a comedic way, I feel like it needs to be, I don't know, maybe just not so much all at once, I guess.
Yeah.
But that is part of the humor too, is to like overload and be like literally everything is insane because it's crazy.
Yeah. I couldn't really connect with anything they were trying to do. Like, as I had said, the film just feels so random. None of the pieces really connect to me. So, like, so the family is like religious, or at least the dad is,
Hmm.
right? And they try to throw every single kind of offensive thing you could possibly imagine, whether it's to deal with religion or animals or, um, you name it, homosexuality, drug use,
Oh yeah, it's all there.
infant death,
Yeah.
whatever. As I said, you name it, it's here. But I don't know. The movie very much made me constantly being like, "What the fuck is going on?" For
Yeah.
sure. So it's very what the fuck, but it wasn't a what the fuck in a satisfying way.
Hmm.
And you're right. I mean, probably one of my biggest gripes with the film for sure is that it takes its concept of this sitcom, which was very exciting for me,
Hmm.
and it just abandons it like 30 or so minutes in, but then it kind of tries to bring it back towards
Right.
the
That's
end,
why I
but in
was
a weird way that
confused.
I was like, well, where's that been for the last 40 minutes?
Yeah.
So, and as I said, I don't think the movie has like a message, some kind of, allegory or some kind of metaphor or some kind, like, I don't think that's what they're going for, but I don't know what the point of the movie is at all in any way, shape, or form, other than to just be insane. And what this
Mm.
kind of reminds me of, it does remind me a bit of like modern uh comedy animation, where
Mm.
when I see what my kids are into now, or like what shows are on now on, like, I don't know if Adult Swim or what it is, whatever channels. I know I'm like the old guy now. I don't know what I'm talking about, and I just don't. Like, we had random humor when I was a kid, for sure, right? But the humor now is so fucking
The
random.
like skibbity toilet
Like,
stuff.
it doesn't, like, the less sense it makes, the funnier it
I
is to
mean, that's
them.
always like a thing. Like I
I
do think that
know, but
randomness can be really funny, but
that's what this feels like though. It feels like
yeah.
randomness overload. Like,
Yeah.
okay, now we're doing what and where
Mhm.
are we going? Why and how and huh? And how's that connect? And it's just too much. It's an assault to the senses in every way and not in a positive way. You
Mhm.
know, did I appreciate the absurdity of it? Did I appreciate the swings? Did I appreciate like them doing something different and giving me an insane film? Sure, but the end result to me is not cohesive and it doesn't feel like an actual vision.
Yeah.
It feels like this is the way the movie feels. It feels like they filmed it from beginning to end in order, you know, in a linear fashion, which most films don't. They had a very loose script and literally anytime anything came to anyone's mind in the moment, if the directors were feeling it, they just said, fuck it, let's go that direction.
Yeah, it's yeah, it feels very like
It
just
it it feels like
discombobulated
improv.
and improv. Yeah, that's a
It
good
feels
word
like
for it.
improv.
I think that the other part that didn't work for me aside from the I mean, I guess it kind of ties into the 90s sitcom 90s sitcom concept is the meta-ness of it. Cuz I'm somebody that does like meta
Yeah.
commentary in films and in media, but I did not like it here. And I think it's because it just made everything more confusing to me.
But what is the meta even trying to get
That's
at?
what I mean.
What's the
That's what I mean.
inclusion of
Like
it
I
even
think you could
for?
maybe draw some kinds of like conclusions about perhaps like television in general, like and how sitcoms portray families versus like maybe what goes on behind the scenes in Hollywood and in the making of movies and TV shows. I also think that there's some stuff about Christianity. And so, like, I see that those are two themes in the movie,
No,
but
you're thinking too
I
much.
think that it's I don't know.
This
I
film
just
doesn't
don't
have
think it
anything like that.
works. It didn't work for us. Really,
No.
that's what it comes down to. But I do see that there's going to be people that are super into it and find it hilarious and ridiculous and love how over the top and insane everything is. It's
That's
just I mean, yes,
the
do we normally like things like that or can we like
yes.
things like that? Yes. But just
I
this one
love
didn't
absurd
yeah.
films,
I do
right?
too. I mean, for me, like you're talking about like random humor, it's like absurdist humor, like when we talk about cartoons and stuff.
Yeah.
That's 1,000%
That's
what I
your
love.
brand, yeah.
Um, but it just didn't work here for me. I don't know. I guess that's all I have to say about it. I
Yeah.
can't really articulate anymore.
I don't I don't care what you say in the comments. You can say whatever you want, but before someone comes at us in the comments and it's just like, oh, you guys are too square, you don't get it, you want something, you know, like straightforward and not weird.
No, I love
Bullshit.
weird. We love weird.
We love super bizarre
And that's not the
movies.
problem. Is not that it's too weird.
No,
That's not the criticism. The
it's
criticism
there's
is
no
more
vision.
that it's hard to follow and confusing without like kind of seemingly for confusion's sake.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I just yeah,
it was
I
a
definitely
wild
implore
ride.
you to watch it if you're intrigued at all, because I
Yeah,
think that it's definitely something to behold.
it's a very memorable film. It's
Yeah,
not one that you'll forget after you see it. And
yeah,
it's a pretty quick watch, and you will not be bored. That's definitely something we can guarantee.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, definitely if you're a fan of Nick Frost and want to support, him in general too, might as well check it out.
yeah.
But just be warned. That's how we felt, was confused and just very WTF the whole time.
Yeah, and if you want to see Kevin Connolly as Jesus, talking to Nick Frost, who goes from like American to British for no reason. And man, the amount of like crazy shit I could talk about with this film, the places this goes, like
It goes
how it
in
ends,
so many
like
places.
I want to love this movie so much. That's, I guess, what's upsetting to me about this movie is like,
Mm.
this is so my kind of film. This is so the kind of film that I watch and I'm like, oh, that was great. And a lot of people are like, no, way too much. Like, I've talked to a lot of friends of mine who usually love the shit that like that, and I'll talk to them like about the substance,
Mm.
and they're like, it went way too overboard
Oh
in the
no.
last like 20 minutes. And I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
we
that was the
love that.
perfect amount of
Yeah.
insane, but it earned it.
Yeah.
Throughout the film there was a setup to
The
earn all of
that's
why this is insane.
maybe that's the other thing, is that like there's a kind of buildup that happens in the substance compared to this. Like there is sort of an attempt at like a buildup of, but like things kind of feel out of place and weird and just like off from the beginning.
Yeah.
So that when things start getting like crazier and crazier, it doesn't really feel like you have a solid like jumping off point from, which is where that like satisfaction of like, oh my god, it's insane now, is to like compare like where you start versus where you end. And I think you already start in kind of a weird place. So it's like
Yeah.
it just doesn't have a, yeah, it doesn't have that balance to me.
The characters also are never like realistic in any way, shape, or form,
Yeah,
which this
there's
movie's not.
sitcom
They're supposed to be
characters.
sitcom characters, and while they're doing the sitcom thing for the first 30 minutes, that kind of works, right? Because they're doing the sitcom thing. But once they drop the sitcom thing and the audience stops cheering and they start filming it like a sitcom, but the characters continue to keep
That's,
acting like a
yeah,
sitcom,
yeah.
that also fucking makes it feel very weird, because
Right,
then you
because you
can't
would
connect
think
to
like,
anybody because they're in such bizarre adult situations,
mhm.
but they're acting like they're in a Married with Children episode.
So the confusion is like, are they the sitcom characters, like out of the sitcom, like brought out and like things are insane? Or are they actors playing characters in the sitcom in which
Right.
things get insane?
Right.
It doesn't feel like it's that option because, as you said,
Yeah.
they don't really break character.
No, definitely
But
not.
I would prefer it to be that more than
Yeah.
anything,
I would
because
have
then it
preferred
would
them to
be
break
like,
character.
yeah, then I would be like, oh, okay, I see what's going on. Or if it is like they're sitcom characters, I don't know. That just, it doesn't work. It doesn't, it didn't work for me.
All
I'm
right, we're done.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
But tell
that's
us what
enough.
you think if you watch it. I'm curious what everybody else thinks.
Yeah, it's
So,
crazy with a capital K. I'll say that. All right, we'll see you in the comments.
bye.